Southside 457.
Did you know that the South Side on Lamar is a National Historic Building?
This building tells a story.
I need a story to connect to with my heart.
There are so many stories in this building.
I wanted to teach other people how to naturally love themselves, and so I ventured into the field of opening my own spot.
There are people in this building with a passion to share what they know.
When I share my knowledge and my skills and my gift, I'm serving my purpose.
Preachers, teachers, architects, attorneys, engineers, artists of all kinds in this building.
What makes this place tick to me and makes it exciting is the combination of so many different kinds of people.
It's like a melting pot.
It's like a melting pot.
15 years, I've never regretted being here at Southside.
Welcome to the Southside 457 podcast. I'm your host, Walter Johnson Jr. Let's get it on. You can't miss the princess.
Listen, Linda, listen.
Southside 457.
Welcome to the Southside 457 podcast. I'm your host, Walter Johnson Jr., and today we have a very special guest, a brother from the sunny south side of the city in Dallas, Texas, pastor of Cornerstone Church and president of Cornerstone Community Development Corporation.
Mm-hmm.
Corporation.
Exactly right.
Pastor Chris Simmons.
Well, thank you
Welcome
so
to
much.
the show.
Thank you so much. So glad to be here. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for
so
coming
much.
on.
Appreciate it.
So, first question I always ask everybody, because this is the Southside 457 podcast. How did you hear about Southside on Lamar? Like, what was your first time coming to the building? Because what I always ask people, like, you just don't end up here. Mm-hmm. You got to be invited, or you don't just bump into the South Side. So what's your story with the South Side?
Well, you know, since I've been in the South Dallas area for about 36 years, remember it back when it was the Sears building.
Okay.
And, you know, of course, several years ago, when they did the renovation to create a facility that was of benefit to the community, residents, mixed use, and all that other good items. Just knew of some businesses that were located here and would come visit those businesses.
Right on. So for those who know you as pastor and others know you as community leader, you're not originally from Dallas.
No, originally from Washington, D.C. So go Commanders.
So, and you're a pastor. Have you always been a pastor?
I started pastoring when I was 25 years old.
Okay, so check this out. Take us to your journey to becoming a pastor and being pastor of Cornerstone Community. Well, Cornerstone. I'm about to make up a church. Cornerstone Church.
Yeah. So I grew up in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
My biological parents from my birth were foster parents. And so always grew up in a home where my parents were caring for children who had traumatic experiences. And so just really grew up in a family where my parents demonstrated by what they did how to care for and love individuals who were in crisis and love them well. And so as a young man, got called to ministry when I was 17 years old and went off to a little Bible college in the Washington, D.C. area. Knew that my calling was to pastor, but felt like I was still too young. And so applied down here in Dallas to Dallas Theological Seminary and was accepted into their program. And in my third year at seminary, was just praying about an opportunity to serve, to mark time until I go back home to Washington, D.C., and saw one day an opportunity to serve in an inner city church in South Dallas called Cornerstone. And so really had no intent to stay in Dallas, just was going to go work a summer and leave the community. And so many of the older people in the community, as I was working there that summer, told my wife that we like him, but he's not going to make it in this neighborhood.
Oh, wow.
And so it was rather, we saw that as a challenge. We saw that as a challenge to make a commitment, to really mark our time there and just really invest our lives in that community, because we felt like it must be really challenging to feel like you attend a church in a community where nobody wants to pastor you.
Yeah. So I want to pick up from there, but I want to go back a little bit. So you said your parents were foster parents and you were their biological. Do you have brothers and sisters?
One brother and one sister.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about what that experience was like, having other kids that are not like your brothers and sisters, but your parents. I mean, like, you obviously have to treat them. You can't treat them any different, and that's what your parents. So what was that experience like, and can you give some examples?
Yeah, so that was one of the things that I was able to see modeled before my parents, how they really loved individuals that were in the midst of crisis situations. And as we fast forward, that really shapes the ministry that we do at Cornerstone around caring for people who are in crisis. And so just saw them love kids. Many of them had gone through some very traumatic situations. Some of them might have been with us for a couple of months as their parents were going through surgery or mom was going through surgery. Some might have come in at 3 years old and aged out of foster care at 18 because they might have seen, in some cases, one parent murder another parent.
Oh, wow.
So a lot of trauma. They, over the years, they were foster parents before I was born, and continued that journey till about 2000.
So what was it like for you being a kid growing up with those kids?
It felt like family.
Just felt like family.
Felt like having a lot of brothers and sisters. And you fast.
It was your norm.
It was the norm.
Yeah,
right?
It was your norm.
Right. And so you fast forward, 60 years, like I am.
Oh, wow.
And over the years of having so many brothers and sisters, we still consider ourselves brothers and sisters. And Facebook has been an opportunity to reconnect us.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
And stay in contact with individuals that you grew up with.
But how many of them you think?
That we stay in contact with? Yeah. Probably about 10 to 15. But I would say over the years, they probably did a couple of hundred. Of individuals. Some may have been overnight.
Came through your mother's home?
Some may have been overnight. Some of them may have been 15 years. So it just really, varied. Some of them, as my mom and dad became elderly and could not take care of themselves, they would step up and repay the love by caring for them.
Oh, right on.
In their age, as they aged. And so it was really an opportunity to have an expanded family, a large family, without your mother having to bear all those children.
That's good. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you made the decision to be at the Cornerstone Church, and then you came here. And what was that like? Because Dallas is not like D.C.
Right. No different. And so, in fact, when I came to Dallas Seminary, it was a rigorous program. It take people sometimes 5-6 years to get through the program. I did it in 3.5 years.
Oh, right on.
Because I hated Dallas. I hated Dallas.
He's ready to get out?
Felt like they were it was a step back in the future in light of the fact that I came from Washington, D.C.
I get it. So just from the treatment and like a good old boy and all that kind of stuff.
It was a little different.
A little different.
So I told my dad when I graduated from seminary that he didn't have to come back to my apartment. I would have the U-Haul pack headed east, so we'd be ready to get out of here. And I guess God has a sense of humor because 36, almost 40 years later, we're still in Dallas and have really come to love the people and particularly the community where we serve.
So what was the defining moment for you to say, okay, man, I don't like Dallas, but I know this is what I'm supposed to be doing?
When I got connected with the church. That was the thing that kept us here, the church.
Mm-hmm. Right on. So so you come into the community and you've been pastoring this church for 36 years. Mm-hmm. There's a larger location now, but there was always the smaller church, and then, but even when you had the smaller church, there was a ministry at the corner where you'd always give out food every week, I think. Mm-hmm. And I actually worked on a couple of those.
Okay.
A couple of those, I worked maybe 2 or 3 times with Uncle Charles.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So I came out there and worked with Uncle Charles. So what was the process to getting that new church? Like what was was it just getting too full? You're like, okay, well, it's time to get the new church.
Well, when I came to Cornerstone, the church, the community where the church is located in South Dallas was considered a war zone. We had a lot of drive-by shooting, gang activity, prostitution, everything bad. We were at the top of the list. Everything good, we were at the bottom of the list. And as a result of the challenges in the neighborhood, a lot of people exited the community. Businesses left, families left, churches left. And so what you really had was those who were literally struggling to get by, who were stuck in the community. Many people were transitioning out of the neighborhood because of all the violence and challenges in that particular urban community. So what we did was we went to our church back in the early 90s and asked the question, if we were to leave this community, would the community miss us? And if the community is not going to miss us, let's try to have the greatest, if the community is going to miss us, let's try to have the greatest impact on the lives of the residents who are here. And around developing what we felt were need-based ministries in order to help individuals to maximize all of their full potential and opportunities that they could have, so that the community would be a better place to live, to work, to play, and to worship. And so we started doing a number of ministries just really around meeting the needs of individuals and programs and ministries as identified by the community. One of the things that we did not want to do as a church was to answer questions that the community did not ask.
Yeah.
And so we're always communicating and conversating with the community, going to community meetings, seeing what the needs are. And so we do a litany of programs and services even today that the community have identified as needs for the neighborhood in order for them to help them maximize their opportunities in life.
So what are some of those programs and stuff that you've implemented, and what's some of the longer ones that when you started way back that are continuing?
Mm-hmm. So the one you mentioned, the feeding program. And so when you probably came...
What is that called?
The feeding program.
Feeding program, okay.
So when you probably came, we probably were feeding once a month, once a week, and probably, 30, 40 people. Today, we serve 5 days a week and do 13,000 meals a month.
13,000 meals a month.
We've actually built a commercial kitchen in order to accommodate. And that's because of Uncle Charles, his impact and influence on really growing that particular outreach to the community.
I never knew that.
Yeah. So we do, And so we do about 13,000 meals to the homeless and the indigent in our particular community. We provide a clothing closet. We feel that many people in the community don't feel good about themselves. And if you don't feel good about yourself, then a lot of times you make bad decisions based on how you feel. So we provide a clothing closet where individuals can come through and get a change of clothes, a clean change of clothes. But also, we realized that many times we were giving clean clothes to people who had to put them on dirty bodies. Mm. And so what we did was we built a facility where individuals can come and get clothes as well as to take a shower, to get cleaned up. So we have 19 individual showers so they can come and get cleaned up. Uncle Charles's wife, Curl, had a barber and hairdresser that she would go to. And so he comes down on Mondays, actually, even today.
Oh, wow.
Even after all these years, to cut hair once a month for many of those who are homeless and in need and could not otherwise go to a barber to feel good about themselves. We realize, again, need-based, that many in our community would wait till what's a cold becomes a pneumonia, and what could be treated with a $2 pill is now a $55 hospital bill. What could be treated in going to a doctor's office would now be a ER visit. And so we provide a free medical clinic for the community so they can come in and see a doctor once a week, and we provide the medications, again, trying to help mitigate taking the pressure off of our ER systems. We realized that as we were in the neighborhood that we were working with men, and a lot of times we could not connect with them while they were on the streets. They would oftentimes end up in jail, but then they would write us from jail and say, I'm ready to make a change. The challenge was when they got out of prison, they didn't have a support system. And so we, over the years, have purchased a 38-bed facility, apartment complex, where we can house men who are transitioning from prison back to the community. So to help address the recidivism rate, to give guys an opportunity to be trained in jobs, and things of that nature, so that they can, again, make a successful reentry into the community. We do the same thing for women, giving them an opportunity to have a successful integration back into society. We realized that we had girls who were homeless and pregnant on the streets. And so we have a 6-bed facility that we're able to take in pregnant moms, 17 to 24 years old, to give them opportunity to have a safe place to give birth to their babies, but also teach them skills to help them not end up back on the street. So teaching them how to cook, how to do financial literacy, relationship-based. We have a counselor on site because many of them have been sex trafficked or have been abused. And so working with those young women, we realized that many young youth in the community would get to 11th grade or whatever, and because of mistakes, they would drop out of school. But as they got older, they realized that if I'm going to make it in this world, I need a high school education. And so we are in our 20th year of the Cornerstone Crossroads Academy, where we provide free education to teenagers who are looking to earn either their high school diploma or to work on their GED, so that they can have that equivalency or an accredited high school diploma from an accredited school that's based in the community. And we do smaller classes so that we can provide the services that those young people need. We wanted to get upstream a little bit and realized that we were doing a lot of work for the homeless and people who had gone through crisis, and moms who had gotten pregnant and didn't have a place to stay, and teenagers who had gone to jail and had criminal background but wanted to finish their education. But as we've heard, it's better to prepare children than it is to repair adults. And so on our campus is the King's Academy, where we work with kids pre-K3 to 5th grade to give them a private Christian education.
I like that. Prepare
than to
children, then repair adults.
And so we work with those kids to give them a great Christian education right on our campus, where majority of them pay $10 to $20 a month to receive a Christian education from an accredited school. We realize that in our neighborhood, we have a large number of kids, over 90%, who don't have a dad in the home. So you have a lot of single mothers raising a number of children. And actually, when I came to Cornerstone, it was more single mothers raising children. We're realizing now it's more grandparents and even great-grandparents who are raising multiple sets of grandchildren. And many times, single moms don't have time to help their children after school. Grandparents don't know how to help their children after school. And so we provide a free after-school program for kids in the neighborhood, where we pick up at our South Dallas schools, so that kids in the community can have an environment where they get homework done, as well as a snack. And then in the summertime, we run a free 8-week summer day camp to help kids be exposed to other parts of Dallas. And we realize a lot of kids in our community have not been 10 blocks from their houses.
That's amazing.
Amazing, yeah. And so have an opportunity where we can expose them to Dallas, and opportunity so they can see the wonderful city that they live in. And so initially when we came, a lot of our work was around relief efforts of food, clothing, helping kids have education, medical care. In the last 4 or 5 years, we began focusing a little bit more on development. And in that, we provide entrepreneurial opportunities. And so we have a Center for Economic Opportunity, Cornerstone Center for Economic Opportunity, where we work with about 125 community residents to help them to get their small businesses up and going. So from writing business plans to providing equity grants to working with banks, trying to get those ideas funded. In our community, we realize that a lot of blight has taken place.
Say that again?
Blight. Blight, where over the years, the city came in and tore down apartments, which were crack houses. So a lot of vacant land in the community. So we've been working to purchase property, purchase drug infested apartments and renovate those to become facilities where we're able to provide decent and affordable housing to community residents, because we believe that community residents deserve to live in decent and affordable housing. And so we try to raise the bar to let them know that they deserve that, and we'll work hard to help them to realize that dream. So that's a Cliff Note version of some of the things. In which
Cliff Note? Wow.
So we do things with seniors in the community, home repairs. We go into senior citizen homes and provide meals for senior complexes. We provide we adopt kids at Christmas. We just finished our backpack giveaway for about 2,500 kids to make sure kids who are going to school have good backpacks and the supplies that they need to be successful in school. So we try to do a number of things just to really love our community well.
Man, that's amazing. That's a lot. I had no idea that all that was going on just blocks away. So when addressing those needs, has it been hard to get support from the city and others, or to come and back you? Has it been what are those challenges? What are those challenges, and what are those challenges?
Well, the greatest challenge, and I'm glad we're on this podcast that'll be heard from by many individuals, is volunteers. Volunteers. The challenge we have in our African American community is many people have worked hard to get out of urban context, and so it's difficult to get them to come back to give back. And I think that our success ought to allow us to help us to realize we have a responsibility of reaching back to those who may not have been as successful as we are. And so getting volunteers really to give back to the community is one of our greatest challenges. We work with a number of organizations to help us to get volunteers and raise funds. The banking community has been great to help us around affordable housing and entrepreneurial initiatives. Other churches have been good to bring volunteers and funding to help us to do renovation projects to be able to better serve those in our community. Individuals who have a heart, who catch the vision of really helping others in need, have stepped up and have been very much involved. So we have a diverse ways in which we do funding and get volunteers. But volunteerism is one of our greatest needs right now, of getting people, mentoring kids who don't have a dad in the home, or kids who may have been traumatized by their life experiences, or just coming out throwing a ball or sitting on the floor playing a game with a kid can be life-changing. We're always looking for men to go down and walk with men who are in prison, so that as we bring them out, they already have a relationship with someone on the outside, because many of them family has disintegrated, or their families no longer want to give them another chance. And so helping individuals walk through that, coming down and helping to serve a meal. We'll provide the food. We just need hands to provide the.
And y'all got some pretty good food over there too.
Yeah, we try to.
It's not the basic cafeteria stuff. It's
and one of our philosophies is you always help people at the level you want to help. We always help people at the level you would want to be helped if you were in their shoes, because one day you might be.
Wow.
One day you might.
Hold on, say that one more time.
You help people at the level you would want to be helped, because one day you might be where those individuals are. And so we always try to do what we do with excellence. As we renovate apartments, we want people to feel real good about their housing situation. When we serve a meal, we want people to feel real good about the meals that being served, that they are served with dignity. So they stay seated. We have volunteers to actually serve them a meal. When we bring clothes, we make sure it's not raggedy clothes. Even we have a boutique where we work with moms to provide clothing for their babies under 3 years old, and we inspect every piece of clothing that come in to make sure it's not torn, doesn't have stains. So we try to do what we do in excellence. And part of our faith is we do it as unto the Lord. We really do it as if we are serving him, because we do never know if we're entertaining an angel unaware. So we try to treat everybody with dignity and respect.
Wow. So they're speaking of development. They're about to develop that whole Martin Luther King side all the way to the Fair Park.
Mm-hmm.
So what's some of the developments that you're working on in that area, and where?
So our area, which we kind of see as Cornerstone Heights, is bordered by
Cornerstone Heights. All right. Naming and claiming it.
Bordered by Martin Luther King on the south side, Al Lipscomb on the north side, Harwood on the east side, and Lamar on the west side. And so that little geographic area is where we kind of focus our area and our efforts to buy property to do development in that particular context.
Right on. Mm-hmm. So there's Dr. Flowers over there. There's Jack. You work with Jack.
Yes.
Jack Matthews with Matthews Southwest. Dr. Flowers with St. Philip's. It's since I've been in the area, and this is like the most that's happened since I've been alive, right, in that area. What caused that significant surge?
I think it was time. I think, and there may be several factors in that. One thing that we're real passionate about is collaboration. And so we collaborate very closely with St. Philip's and now Forest Ford, who has the Forest Theater, to try to really work together so that our community can feel like that they are part of this process. Too many times, what we've noticed in urban communities is urban renewal equals urban removal. That when urban renewal takes place, the people who have been there experience community erasure, that they are wiped out, that their culture and history and passion for the community goes away as new residents move in who have a much higher income. And so our focus is that urban renewal does not have to equal urban removal. That people who have grown up in that neighborhood, who love South Dallas has a lot of rich history, that they can participate in the development that is taking place. And so one of the things that St. Philip's is passionate about, and now Forest Forward is passionate about, is how do we bring development that is equitable, that is fair, that allows the community residents to speak into what is happening in their community, so that things don't have to just happen to them, that they are in the conversation and in the room talking about the things that they feel like is needed in that particular community.
Yeah, I was talking to Dr. Flowers. He's been on the show, and he was talking about, and I don't know if you're part of this program or know anything about this program that Dr. Flowers was talking about, where they're giving residents a certain ability to invest in the community with a few dollars, and it may not affect them, but affect their future. Right. Yeah.
And so that's why, one of the things that we see ourselves blessed by is being right across the street from St. Philip's.
Yeah.
Because Dr. Flowers is an amazing community leader who is doing some very innovative things in terms of community outreach and community development. And so, again, watching their model and collaborating together is how can we allow the community to participate in all this development that is coming. Because a lot of communities feel like as development take place, as we mentioned, they're going to be removed. And unfortunately, that's not an urban myth.
Yeah.
You go to West Dallas, houses that were $30,000, $40,000 less than 10 years ago in that community now, houses are selling for $5, $6, $7, $8, up to $1 million, which means property values are skyrocketing, and people who live in that neighborhood can no longer afford to live in that community.
Yeah, just the taxes alone.
The taxes alone is a challenge, and we're seeing that. And we work with St. Phyllis around helping people to mitigate around getting their properties adequately assessed so they're not paying skyrocketed taxes.
Yeah.
And so we're seeing that gentrification is becoming real in that community, but we really want to work towards helping people in that community to be a part of the discussion around how can we, again, participate in the development, and as you said, small investments that may not impact them, but will certainly impact their children and their grandchildren.
So I think we're in an interesting time because it's moving fast, and things are moving faster and faster as technology. And as I get older, and technology, just with technology, it's just accelerating the process of growth or demise. Right? It's sink or swim kind of thing. But I'm in awe because I feel like right now we're in a moment in history where we get to, if we're not careful, we can miss seeing what God is doing in that community and in Dallas.
Right.
And it's happening now. And it takes people, and I look back, I look at guys like you, Dr. Flowers, Jack Matthews, and a whole list of others that I just don't know. But I see you guys as the leaders, and like you are going to be the guys that my grandchildren and stuff talk about, and great grandchildren talk about, and streets will probably be named after. You already got Cornerstone Heights and things like this in neighborhoods, and to be in this moment or in these moments that are happening, are you ever just in awe the fact that it's actually happening? Because before, I know it was struggle before, and now I see, like when the levees are up and you're like, okay, can we get a little drip?
Right.
And now it seems like the floodgates are open.
Right.
So what's that feeling, and do you ever feel overwhelmed, or like, man, is the water coming in too fast? Yeah,
it reminds me of the gospel song. I think it's Paul Morton who sings a song that says, "Lord, whatever you're doing in this season, don't do it without me. I want to participate in what you're doing." There's a guy named Henry Blackaby says you always want to be sensitive to where God is at work. It's easier to join in where God is at work as opposed to make your own things happen.
Right.
It works so much better. And I think that a lot of things have happened, a lot of over the years. And if we're not sensitive to what's going on around us, we will miss it. And you will wonder, what in the world hit me? And unfortunately, for many of us, by the time we catch on that something has happened, the train has already left the station. And it's already too late. I mean, if you're trying to buy property in South Dallas, it's already too late. Because what we're seeing even in our communities is a lot of homes are now being sold to developers and individuals thinking they're a good deal, but they're going back and putting 2 or 3 homes on that property and charging $500,000-$600,000 for those homes. And so it is exciting times, and we just want to make sure that individuals are not left out who want to be a part of the conversation.
So moving forward, and what would you like to see? What is your vision for South Dallas?
When we get asked that, and Dr. Flowers will say the same thing, is we want our community to look like your community. That's what we want. We want it to be a place where people feel safe coming to eat, to recreate, to work, to play, to worship. We want our community to look like your community. If you call the police, it's not tomorrow before they show up.
Yeah.
That you can live in your house and you feel like bullets are not going to be flying through your front door. You're not feel like your landlord is a slumlord. So we want our community to look like other communities.
Right on. So, okay, there's volunteering that you need. That's like the immediate need. Is there any more? Is there like a particular role for volunteers needed more? I know that all of them are equally important, but is there an immediate need for a specific volunteer program?
Yeah. So our volunteers are listed on our church website or our Development Corporation website. And the Development Corporation website is CCDC Dallas, CCDC for Cornerstone Community Development Corporation.org. And it will give you a list of volunteer opportunities. But I can tell you that mentors is a big need, particularly male mentors, because one of the programs that I didn't mention that we do and have on our campus is a program called Hope Farms.
Hope Farms.
Hope Farms that started in Fort Worth, and it is around helping boys who don't have a dad in the community, who don't have a dad in the home. And as you and I both know, many plumbers, many guys who are plumbers, their sons are plumbers. Mm-hmm. Many guys who are in the banking industry, their sons tend to be in the banking industry. Many guys who are electricians, their sons are electricians. Many guys who are in the technology world, their sons are in the technology world. Many guys who are thugs.
Yeah.
Many guys who are drug dealers. Unfortunately, their children will pick up that same trajectory. And so what this is designed, what Hope Farms is designed to do is to grow up boys so that we can begin mitigating around this whole prison pipeline that many of our boys are engaged in already, to show them some other alternatives. And so mentorship, and that is one of our greatest needs, of people who have been successful, who have done life, who have learned lessons in life, to be able to come and invest in the lives of young kids, to help them to address the needs that they have to be successful. We all watch television and shake our head about kids who've made bad decisions, but
bad leadership.
Yeah. So you have to show them something different if you want different results.
Okay. So look at this camera right there, and tell people how they can get a hold of you. And so the website, call to action from what you want from them, and just speak to the people.
Okay, so thank you so much for listening in. And so my name is Chris Simmons. As you've heard, I pastor Cornerstone Baptist Church in South Dallas and lead our Cornerstone Community Development Corporation. You can reach us via the World Wide Web at www.ccdcdallas.org, and that is Cornerstone Community Development Corporation, CCDC. Dallas.org, or by telephone 214-426-5468. And as we've mentioned, there's a lot of volunteer opportunities listed on our website around mentorship, about individuals who might just want to do some low-hanging fruit of coming to volunteer to pass out a meal or pass out clothing, or people who might have mechanical skills. We provide free bicycles to the community to help transportation. And so a variety of ways in which individuals can come and give back to their community. If you have been successful, I think it's incumbent upon us to reach back and to help someone else. There's an old gospel song that we sing: if I can just help somebody as I journey along, if I can cheer somebody with a word or song, show somebody he's traveling wrong, then my living will not be in vain. And so those volunteer opportunities are really an opportunity to get people to invest back in the community so their living won't be in vain.
Well, I appreciate you for coming on the show. But before we close, I have a story. So my father-in-law at the time, he's passed. God bless. God rest in peace.
Was a giant in so many ways.
A giant in so many ways. Yeah. Mr. John Bowling. Yeah. So he invited me. He wanted me to come and record. I had a recording studio, and back in the days, and he wanted me to come and record a sermon. He was like, "Man, you got to record this guy. You got to record. You got to come down here and record him and show him how to put the CDs out and tapes out or whatever he was saying." So I go there. I set up. I go upstairs, and I set up. You know, church service starts, and the choir is singing, and you get the microphone, and you greet the people and, you know, just do what you do. And then you ask a brother to pray. Well, the brother prayed. He asked, not only did he pray, he asked everybody to stand, or you ask everybody to stand. So everybody was standing. And this brother decided he was going to preach. He had a preaching prayer, and he preached for about 25 minutes.
And it's supposed to prayer.
Yeah, it was supposed to be a prayer. And I'm upstairs because I'm recording this. And I'm like, okay, he's praying. And then I'm looking and I see you. Every now and then you're like, you got your head bowed and you're like looking like, and he just keeps talking. And he did this for about 25 minutes. So finally you got the mic. And first of all, I want to tell you, you're very patient. You're very, 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 very patient. And I just think that, to me, I didn't say this in the beginning, but that right there, by allowing that man to speak for 25 minutes, is also how we do one thing is how we do everything. I've seen you over the years be patient with being in that community that you're in. You know, I've seen that, and I think that is communities need more people like you. Okay. And I think that your heart is spot on and in the right place, and it's just amazing what you're doing. I had no idea that you did all those things. I see the food place, and there's some kind of store over there. What is that store?
So what we did is we had a community conversation with our community and asked them what do they feel like they need. And one of the things that they felt like they need, where we're in a food desert, where many times they have to take 2 buses to go to the grocery store. And they say it'd be nice to have a convenience store in the community, one that sold fresh fruits and vegetables, which many of the convenience stores did not do, because it's it's very challenging, because if people are not buying it, it goes bad. That's lost revenue. And a place where they can get things that are not 2 to 3 times what you would pay at a Walmart. Yeah. So we put a grocery store, a convenience store in the neighborhood that is like a typical convenience store that gives you Walmart, that gives you 7-Eleven convenience, but at Walmart prices. And gotcha. And so we put that grocery store in the neighborhood. That's done very well.
I was just
Many
about
people
to ask
told
that.
us that it would not make it. The first year we did $100,000 more than we did the previous year, and continued to grow. In fact, now we have to literally bring in orders every day to keep the shelves restocked.
You guys are going to build a larger space since the demand is there?
Well, we're hoping that will be a model to key into grocery stores, that are larger grocery stores.
To come in and do the work.
To do the work.
To do what they do.
Right.
Yeah, so you can do what you do.
We're just meeting a need.
Yeah.
They need to do what they do. But, for example, we did a study with the State Fair of Texas and found out that we had kids in the community who didn't go to school for no other reason than they didn't have access to clean clothes. So you're a grandmother or mother, you get busy on the weekend, you don't wash clothes. Kids feel like, I don't have clean clothes to wear to school, I'm not going to go to school today.
Yeah.
So we put in a laundromat in the neighborhood. We were doing a partnership with the real estate council and found out that we're doing an MLK food park where we're bringing food trucks and community residents could sell their product, but realized that many people in the community couldn't participate because they have to, in order to sell food to the public, it has to be prepared in a certified commercial kitchen, and many of those were not in the neighborhood, or they were very expensive that people could not rent them. And so we worked with the city of Dallas to put in a cloud kitchen that has 2 kitchens that individuals can rent at a very affordable price, so that they can run their business and don't have to spend a whole bunch of money in rental space. And so just always trying to figure out how we can better serve our community.
So you said that, and it reminded me of something. Mr. Arthur Porter from Dallas Design and Dreams said. He was saying that you guys are building a restaurant or something over there.
We are building a restaurant because
it was some. I can't remember exactly what he was saying, but I remember it was a unique situation that you were doing. Like it was like the type of food or how you were setting up. So what is it?
So we're putting in a restaurant because we in our communities, a lot of our people struggle with diabetes, obesity, and a lot of other health issues around food access. And, you eat fried chicken and fried fish all day, your arteries are going to clog up and so forth and so on. So we wanted to bring in a model that would allow us to work with entrepreneurs, but also provide other food options. And so the closest model we saw was in Eatseas.
And
Eatseas, if you've ever been to Eatseas. And so this is Eatseas on a budget.
Eatseas on a budget.
On a budget.
With a little southern feel.
So entrepreneurs will be able to do their product, and then we will sell it to the community.
Eatseas is kind of like it's a small grocery store and some
you can go
prepared
get
foods and
salads and sandwiches, and so that's what the idea is. But to do it, that's affordable for the community, and so we're going to build. Hopefully, we're working with CBRE in Trumbull Crow to design that particular restaurant. We're taking an old restaurant in the community and renovating that for that purpose.
So what's the timeline on that? Do you have any idea?
Hopefully within a year.
Oh, wow. That's not bad.
Yeah, a year to 18 months. We're
open.
Oh, hopefully.
Okay.
Hopefully. We are going to go through permitting with the city of Dallas, and that's a whole nother challenge.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother challenge.
Yeah, but you get Trammell Carl on your side, you'll be all right.
Yeah. So hopefully that will help us. And so they're doing this pro bono for us.
Yeah. Man, so, you know what? I never asked for, can you pray us out?
Sure. Yeah. Father, we thank you so much for an opportunity to serve you. And thank you for this podcast that will go out to so many individuals. And we pray that their hearts would be touched about their need to give back to their communities, to touch those who are in need. We are reminded in your word that you say in the last days, you will ask us, if I was hungry, did you feed me? Or naked, did you clothe me? Or thirsty, did you give me something to drink? Or in prison, did you visit me? And you told us that when we have done it unto the least of these, my brothers, you've done it unto me. And so we pray that as individuals listen in, that they will be called to serve the least of these, my brothers, particularly in the South Dallas Fair Park community or wherever they may live or work. For we thank you so much for an opportunity to come to share on this broadcast and use it for your glory. For us in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
My pleasure.
And thank you for tuning in to the Southside 457 podcast. Until next time, peace, and go to his website and volunteer.
Southside 457.